Sometimes when I'm on social media, I'm having a good time. I feel like I'm getting in tune with what's happening in the culture. I'm staying informed and getting some kind of value. I'm enjoying the consumption. But also sometimes, some other times, I am consuming this media and I have a little voice in the back of my head that is kind of like screaming at me, this is not how I want to be spending my time right now. If I hear this little voice, it's very faint, but it's like, come on girl, you buy so many books, pick one of those up, please. I figured out that I think the problem is going from a super addicting feed or like a really good YouTube video, going from that to staring at a freaking book, this thing without any moving images. I've determined that is simply too big of a jump. A couple weeks ago, I found myself in that place where I was just like, okay, I know that this is not what I want to be spending my time doing right now. Like, I don't want to just keep on scrolling, but also I still want to be staring at a screen. All right. I have that urge. And so a couple weeks ago, I opened up Spotify and I was listening to music, but for the first time, I really paid attention to the bios under the artists. And if you look at like the biggest pop stars, it feels like it's just like a Wikipedia article. It's not super personal. It just feels like kind of generic, right? But then I started looking at some artists that are a little bit smaller, and it's a much more intimate experience reading it because you can tell that the artist probably like just wrote it themselves. I started reading through all of these different artists' bios, and a lot of them like describe how they met. If it's like a band, they talk about which artists they're inspired by. They talk about how they're kind of innovating in a certain genre. Once I kind of heard a little bit more background on like why they do what they do, I'm listening to their work and I feel like I have like a extra appreciation for it. And it's honestly really inspiring to read about all these people who are doing something that they love. They're putting art out into the world and they're making a living doing that. Like, it's cool when it's one person, but I really like reading about the bands because in a lot of cases, it's just a few friends who love jamming together and they're creating something for the world and they get to do it in a group. And I imagine that it's like the same kind of inspiration a person would get if they read like a biography or an autobiography by some important person from history. I mean, I wouldn't know. It made me kind of want to take action and create things.
And this is the opposite of how scrolling on social media can often leave me feeling, which is passive and wanting to consume more.